Welcome to the Eastgate Podcast. This is
Let's Talk About It
with Lawana, Schrieffer, and Nate Prepelka. We dive into tough questions, real-life challenges, and what it means to walk with Christ. In this episode, we talk about religion, relationship, and spirituality. Good morning.
Hey. How is everyone?
Good. How are you?
I said everyone, and it's just me and Nate. But I'm talking to you guys, too. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing great. I'm drinking a Coke. So
I love that's my sin. I drink too many Cokes.
I was like, I've already had a coffee, too.
Yeah.
So I don't know how this is going to go this morning because I might be a little bit over the top.
I've had a coffee, a black tea, and a Coke today. It's one of those days.
Happy Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So we're going to be talking about religion and spirituality and relationship, right? We're going to, and how those interact with each other.
Yeah, I think this is so funny because poor Nate, he was like on vacation, minding his own business. And I saw a video where this woman was contrasting and comparing like religious and spirituality. I'm like, this is something Nate needs to wake up from his nap from, and like he needs to watch this thing. So I send it to him. And let me tell you a little secret about Nate. He's kind of hit and miss on if he's going to respond to a text. So I didn't know if he was going to see it, but he did. He watched it and he said he liked it. But so, this is just, a lot of times Nate and I come to these podcast recordings because it's something that we are thinking about and we want to have a conversation with you guys. So it's not like we're always like has studied this for the last 5 days or 5 years. It's like, this is a really cool topic that I want to kind of start delving into and just see where we wind up. Like, we're not here with a definitive answer, but we're curious.
Right. Yeah. I'm not a scholar by any means. But I do believe in, having conversations like this and exploring the Bible and talking about it. And I'm going to be careful myself not to make any wild statements that I can't back up with evidence. But yes, definitely, we just want to have a conversation and explore these topics.
Yeah, that's one of the beautiful things about being in community is that you don't have to like struggle with things by yourself, and especially if it feels like a safe community, then you can bring whatever question you have. There's not a dumb question, any question
right.
is, we're open to any kind of question. So, I don't think Nate knows this about me, but for a couple of years, I was in a lot of different groups online, learning about coaching and trauma and, healing and it would be with a lot of different people. So these were not necessarily Christian circles. And so it would be people from all walks of life, all beliefs, all, different countries. And that was one of the beautiful things about it, is that it was an opportunity to get to hear other people's perspectives and other people's experiences. And it really broadens your understanding that everybody is not like you. Like, they haven't been raised in the same way with the same belief systems. And so when I heard that video or watched that video and she was talking about religious versus spirituality, it just reminded me of some of the experiences that I had in these different circles. And one of the things that I think I love about this conversation is that it just makes us ask ourselves some questions. And anytime you are open and curious and you ask yourself some questions, you get to explore different possibilities and see things that are in a spectrum versus like this or that. You see that life can be ands, and I like that. So one of the things that I learned was sometimes when you're in a circle of people from different places, they are saying the word God, but they don't mean the same God you mean as a Christian. So they'll talk about God, but it's not usually the God of Jesus. They don't say Jesus. So God can just be like a universal expression of a higher power, or the universe, or the source. Like you hear all these different words in different places. And so what I've observed over time is that everybody, I won't say everybody, but it's a human nature to look for something that can explain life. Explain who we are, what our purpose is, where we're going, how it works, and we do that through religion and then through spirituality. Like we find something that we can hang on to as the source of our experience as humans. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in spirituality, what I found is that a lot of times the source ends up being you, like the ultimate goal in a lot of talks around, Mother Nature or the universe is that you become smart enough, you become knowing enough, you reach a level of consciousness, of elevation, that you realize that is you creating your life. And the difference between that and Christianity, I feel, is that it leads you to that God is the source, and God is the source of your life. And aligning with God and understanding God and knowing God and being in relationship with God is the journey that you're on. And so, yeah, it's been very interesting in the last couple of years to see those different kind of dichotomies, but it's man trying to answer the question, like, who am I and where do I come from and what's my purpose? But they go about it in a couple of different ways. So that was how I kind of learned about spirituality. What I've learned over the last couple of years about Christianity is that God wants to be in a relationship with us, and that God is for us. And so it's like a different expression between spirituality, because spirituality is self-led and Christianity is God-led. And it's like an invitation into a relationship where God is telling you that he has a reason and a purpose for you. You don't have to scramble outside and try to figure that out on your own. Right.
Okay. So, difference there between religion and spirituality. Is there because I believe that there's a spiritual aspect to Christianity.
Right.
What does that look like? Like, is that, I don't know.
The comparison, like how would that look comparing to?
Right.
Yeah, I think one of the things.
So spirituality outside of Christianity
yeah.
would be more self. Okay.
Yes, it would be self-reliance.
Right. Okay.
You're evolving into a higher consciousness of self.
Right. Yeah.
And Christianity is dependence and surrender. So Christianity is like you're a baby. It doesn't require you to become all-knowing. That's not the goal.
Right. You're not depending on your own ability to understand and
right.
and be and do.
Right.
Relying on God to do all those things.
Yeah, you're not on a journey to become your creator. Not in Christianity.
Not in Christianity. It's more of a journey to know your creator.
Yes.
Okay.
It's separate from you. Your creator is separate from you. Yeah. So in Christianity, though, we get to talk about religion versus not religious. So sometimes people are like, I believe in God. I even believe in Jesus. I'm just not religious. Like I'm not religious. And I want to talk about like, what do we mean by being religious or not religious? And what does the Bible say about it? So for a long time, you know how you'll have these friends, or you've gone through this yourself. I went through this for a couple of years. It's like, I don't need to go to church. I can meet God on a hike, on the beach, I see God when I look at the sky. I don't need to read the Bible. Like, I see God. I'm experiencing God day to day. But that's not what the Bible says. But it is true in a way. Like, God is everywhere. God has created everything. The Bible does say, like, you can see God from nature. Like, you look up, you have to wonder, like, how did this happen? So that's not wrong in itself, but that's not the only thing that your relationship with God requires. So you're not going to church and reading the Bible because it's the right thing to do in religion. You do that because it's a way to be connected to God.
Right. So what I'm picking up on is that, spirituality, religion, and relationship, they all kind of need to work together or I guess spirituality and religion need to work together to have that relationship.
Right.
Okay. So thinking back on my own life, so growing up, I was more about religion.
Right.
And then I was hurt by religion. And so then I guess I had a grudge towards religion.
Yeah.
And I would say at a point I would have considered myself non-religious.
Not religious.
Even though I was doing all the religious things, going to church, praying, and participating in the Sunday morning service and everything. But yes, when you sent that video to me and she kind of explained all that, it opened up my eyes to that, these things, they do work together for that relationship. And like, yeah, none's greater than the other.
Right.
They need to work together.
I think what I had thought in the past that she talks about is that religion was bad. Like, you don't want to be religious. That's bad.
Right.
You don't want to be a religious person.
Yeah, I've felt that in my own life. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Pharisees. Like, you don't want to be like the Pharisees. They were religious. But what she said in the video that caught my attention, I think this caught Nate's attention too.
And I used to say relationship over religion.
Right.
I used to be of that mentality.
Yeah.
But like I said, that you can't elevate any of them over the other one. They all need to work together. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I love that you said that because I hadn't thought about it that way. But what she said was like, Jesus never said religion was bad. He said the lack of a transformation of your heart and still checking off those boxes. So to me, religious became this box of checklist box. Like, did you go to church? Check. Did you read your Bible this week? Check. Did you pray today? Check. Like, you were just check. But that didn't mean you were in relationship with God. It didn't mean your heart was transformed in any way. It was just like, I can check off these boxes, meaning I've done the things that it required to be a Christian. And she kind of challenges the idea that religion is bad, because it's not that you're not supposed to do those things. It's the heart behind it, your intent. And that is what needs to be challenged.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
And you know what? We just did a message at church on Matthew 26, and we talk about Judas. And the reason I bring that up is he checks all the boxes. He is with Jesus. He's a disciple. He's one of the 12. He's intimate knowledge of Christ. And he still didn't have a relationship that was honest because he betrays Jesus. So you can be religious. I think that's what we've been afraid of. Like, you can be checking all the boxes, but you're not really in a relationship. And that is scary. So you feel like, well, stop. Don't even worry about being religious. Just make sure you're in a relationship.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think that kind of takes the fear out of. I wouldn't want to be perceived as religious. Right. I think because of my experiences and the way I felt hurt by it. But yeah, it really, helped me reframe my view of religion. Mm-hmm. Things that I was still already participating in. And, being able to heal from that. Yeah. Look at it from a different perspective. And I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I just laugh because you're like, I was going to church. I mean, you're the youth pastor. You're going to church. You're like playing in the band sometimes, like for worship. Like you're from the outside looking in, anybody else probably was like, he's religious. And you're like, I'm not, I'm not religious. I'm in a relationship, you know? So sometimes, you know, you can be checking all the boxes, but you're not in relationship, but nobody can tell. Nobody can tell that from the outside. And so, so when you're thinking about your walk with Christ, you don't want to necessarily say you're not religious, but you want that to be that behavior to come from your relationship. Like you're checking those boxes because of the relationship you have, not you're checking those boxes separate from a relationship. Like that, the religiousness part does not replace the commitment to walking with Christ, right? They have to be together.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, they work together.
They work together.
Yeah, that was super helpful for me for reframing that for sure. Religion isn't bad.
Right.
It's good and necessary. And that's something I've just kind of been learning recently, you know, especially like with tradition. You know, we're doing these practices that have been practiced for thousands of years.
Yeah.
So in a way, we're participating in these ancient practices, and in a way, you know, that kind of connects us to the people of the past who have participated in this.
That reminds me of when, like, we were talking to Janelle and we were reading about where Jesus says that woman who did the alabaster jar will be remembered for what she did. And she was like, you're part of the people who are remembering, like you are reading about her. So when Jesus talks to her those thousands of years ago, we are the people who are reading, like we are part of this story. We are the people who are reading about this thousands of years later. So we are part of the story that of her, what Jesus said.
Right. Yeah. And I think about like communion too. So, you know, we do that, and it's almost like, you know, we're participating in that Last Supper with the disciples when we do this act of communion.
Yeah, do this in remembrance of me. And we are doing that. We weren't there, and it's still happening all these years later.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I always was worried about is like Jesus talks a lot to the Pharisees and the rulers about, or the leadership of the temple, about not falling into the habit of just doing practices because they're tradition. You really want to stay conscious about why we are doing things and not let it just be something to check off.
Right. And
so when you're talking about like how you're like, I'm not religious, I think one of my big things is like, oh, I don't care about tradition. I don't care about tradition.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think what he wasn't saying that they were bad. That's what she says in the video. He never says religion in itself is bad. It is the heart that you have to look at. And I want to remind myself of that. Like, you can go to church every day and have a heart and heart, you know, or you can come to church with an open heart. You have to decide, and you want to keep that forefront in your mind. And if any time in our walk with Christ, if we start thinking, because I did kind of start falling into this because I was in those different groups, it's like, oh, I need to be self-reliant. That's what maturing is. It's like, I am the captain of my own ship. Like, that's where I'm trying to attain. That goes in opposition of what the Bible is saying, because God calls us to have faith like little children, and he calls us sons, that we are adopted into a family. So when I was out in I hate saying like out in the world, but when I was in these just different groups, and I'm not saying they were bad people, they're just people searching, you know, they're people who are looking for an answer. It felt easier to think that I could one day be in control of my whole life. Surrendering independence is hard. It was like, oh, that was kind of interesting, because it was kind of like, I like to be able to manifest something without having to ask God in prayer about it. I would like to have the power to create the life that I want, and think that I am the source of it. That's the thing. So you do have to have spirituality in Christianity, in that we are spirits, like we are spirits with a body, on us. But it's the source of where you think things are coming from. That is the thing. Is it coming from you? Is it coming from the universe? Or is it coming from God? That is the thing. So yeah, I think religion can be bad, but it's not inherently bad. It's, as always, it's something we do to it that makes it. Traditions could be bad, but they're not inherently bad. It's what we do to it.
You need the they need to work together. It's not bad, but for it to work as it should, you need to have that spiritual and that relational aspect with it. I was thinking about the heart postures, and I was thinking about like a begrudging heart posture. How there's some days where I'm just like, gosh, I really don't want to do this, but I tell myself I'm gonna do it anyway.
Right.
That there is still a good heart posture,
right?
Even if you're not feeling 100%.
Right. I think so, because it's not based on your feeling. Like if we only did the things that we felt like doing,
I don't want to do this, so I'm not going to.
Right. Yeah. So the heart posture is, I don't want to do this, but God, I submit myself to God's will, and I'm going to do it.
Right. Yeah.
For Him, because of the relationship, not because of the religion. Religion would be like, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
But relationship is like, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk about spirituality, because this is something that I don't have a clear definition on in the context of Christianity, I guess. I have, some ideas, like I've had with religion, but like with spirituality, this is something that I've been wanting to explore more in my relationship with God as a spiritual aspect, because I feel like I've gone through the things I needed to understand and respect the religious part,
the practical stuff.
The practical stuff, exactly. And now I want to, explore other areas of a relationship with God.
Yeah,
essentially. So when it comes to spirituality, I've seen it in many different forms. A few of them, I don't really know how to describe. Maybe just my brain's not working right now.
Yeah.
But what would you describe as spirituality?
I think spirituality just means you're trying to find an answer to what the world is and how to be a human in the world, and in something that is bigger than yourself. Like, it's not man. You're not ascribing it to, like, it's not man-made. You know that there's something out there, and you're just trying to figure out what that is. And a lot of times I think it is easier, people in the Bible, the idolatry is spirituality. They are looking for a source for why it's raining, a source for why the sun's coming, why the crops are growing, why they aren't. And they look at that and they say there must be some God out there that we're either pleasing, and that's why we have the good, or we're not pleasing, and that's why we have the bad. And I think we're still doing that. We're looking at, why do we have the good? What is making the good? And then why do we have the bad? And what is it about us that we need to change or do to get the good and not get the bad? And I think that is kind of what it is. It's like this search for significance, for meaning, and for the source of how life works. So we want to have like a formula, like if A plus B, then C, and then if I don't do that, I get D. It's just kind of like, that's kind of how I think of it. Looking for a source. We're just searching for.
So I guess the spirituality could be.
I'm gonna look it up.
Like the connection point.
Yeah. In
a way, to God. So.
It's like an explanation.
Religion would be, the steps we need to take. Spirituality would be the connection, and
You're right.
Those together is their relationship.
Right. So, I mean, we have a lot of different religions.
Yeah.
And they're all trying to answer a similar question. Like, what's the point? Like,
right.
How does this work? Yeah. It says.
Okay, so.
Yeah, what
I
we
guess
just said.
Maybe what I'm trying to do then is just understand the spiritual aspect of relationship with God more so than experiencing it, because it seems like I've been experiencing it.
Right.
Okay.
I like that you're asking the question because I think we do it blindly. Like, we don't know what we're looking for. And we look for that connection or that explanation in all kinds of ways, free love or all the rules against love. Like, it's like we're always pendulum swinging from one extreme to the other, trying to find an explanation for spirituality, like why we're here and what's our purpose and what is the thing that we're trying to be connected to. So, what I was thinking about too, and I think this is probably my last big thought about it, was like, when we talk about religion, I was thinking about Paul or Saul and how he checked all the boxes. He says, I am the Jew of all Jews. Like, I have all this education. I've sat under the best teachers. I know all the law. I follow all the rules. Like, if there was like, an example of Judaism, of being a good Jewish, it was me. And God's like, you're doing it. You're wrong. So he had all the boxes, so he didn't have a relationship. I don't think they have been taught you could have a relationship yet, right? In the history of Judaism, like a personal one-on-one, you had to go through the priests to do atonement, to do the sacrifices. So they hadn't had, before Jesus, God had come to people personally, not all people, but some people he had relationships with, like Abraham and Moses, but they weren't like we get told that we can come to the Lord, to God, through Jesus. Now we can have a personal relationship. Paul hadn't had that yet. I mean, that's just getting started with Jesus. So, but Paul has checked all the religious boxes for Judaism, and he's still wrong.
Right.
And so I think that's what we want to be careful about with religion, that we're not in it just to check off all the boxes. But what I never think about, but I was thinking about lately, is that Paul was willing to submit himself to the Lord, because God didn't just end it with stopping him on the road to Damascus. He said, you go. Some people took him to somebody, and he stayed in that group for years learning about Jesus, learning about God, learning. Like, it wasn't like one and done. It wasn't like bling and then now he says. He had to submit. He had to throw off everything he had learned. He had to throw off his ego. He had to throw off his, we check off like, oh, I went to this university. I have this degree. I have this job. He had to throw off all of that. He had to throw off all of that to come to Christ. And sometimes when we just are caught up in, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious, or I'm religious, we are missing out on that middle part where you have to throw off all your stuff and be surrendered and dependent on God.
Right. That's cool. Okay, so to reframe this, so I can understand this. The religion part, that is the doings. That is the in a relationship, that would be communicating with each other, taking care of each other, looking after each other. And a relationship with Christ, that would be coming to church, reading the Bible, worship, communion, all those things. And then the spiritual side of it, that would be more the heart posture, or also the connection point to God. So those would be
surrendering,
okay, yes, yeah, surrendering, depending. They're not practical things.
No.
They're not things that we do physically or whatever. Those are within our heart.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we have that and the spiritual, the religion, and those come together. They have to work with each other so that we can have a relationship with God.
Yeah.
Cool.
Did it?
Yeah.
It might have been a long trip, but we got somewhere.
Yeah,
I think we got somewhere.
I like that. That's good understanding. That really helped me to put into perspective what I have been seeking, and I had been seeking understanding, and I guess this gave me that understanding. But I was already participating in that relationship with God through those different aspects. Awesome.
You just had them in 3 different categories versus a awesome sauce.
So cool. Thank you, Lawana. This was super helpful for me.
That was a good one. I didn't know where we were going to end up, but we got somewhere.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Awesome. Well, we can end it there. Anything else you want to add or share?
We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. We would love for you to be a part of the conversation. If you have anything you would like to add or share, you can leave us a comment or email at egcfpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening.